Hans-Otto Beeck ist eine Ausnahmeerscheinung in der Kunstwelt. Er ist Opernregisseur, Schauspielregisseur, schreibt selber Texte, Dramen und vor allem ist er natürlich Raumkünstler. Er arbeitet mit dem Raum auf eine ganz besondere Weise, ist ein Magier des Lichts und ein Meister der Perspektivwechsel. Und für das Kunstmuseum Wolfsburg hat er sich nochmal selbst übertroffen, denn er schafft wirklich eine Totalinstallation, die eine ganze Stadt darstellt. Wir gehen hinein durch ein Collectors House, eklektizistisch. Wir kommen heraus auf einen großen Balkon, der immer noch sehr prachtvoll und pompös ist. Und wir blicken dann runter, fast auf eine Unterwelt, also eine Industriebrache, eine Vorstadtsituation. Dort liegen Müllsäcke herum, Müllcontainer stehen da. Es ist dunkel, heruntergekommen, düster. Und in diesem Setting, in diesen Häusern, die Sie dort erahnen, da findet dann die eigentliche Retrospektive statt.
The Collector's House is a strange, fictitious space, and as the title suggests, it is a collector's house, but of course it's a fictitious or a fictional collector. He or she doesn't exist. And what the spectator can see are the traces of this presumed life of this fictitious character. The Collector's House talks about how we as human beings stage our lives, how we create surroundings that we can identify with, and that we use as a means to find a form of identity. And the Collector's House is all in grey, so it is a little bit like as if we are looking at a collector's house a couple of hundred years later when it's, you know, it's a bit like Pompeii, as if it were all silenced down, as if everything became like stone, like the glasses of massive plaster, or this ashtray and the cigarettes, they're all sculpted and handcrafted. So the Collector's House doesn't include ready-made objects, it's all sculpted and sculptural interpretation. And I think the overall mood of the Collector's House is very important. So when you walk in, that it is as if you are bathing in silence. So this general quiet, obscure mood, this mood which is pregnant of all kinds of stories, is very important to start with, and then the attentive viewer can find all kinds of meanings and information within the installation. Within the exhibition you can witness that I love to manipulate scale. So you will find scenes on reduced scale, life-sized scenes like the Collector's House, but also things that are larger than life in the literal sense of the word. And so this sculptural installation, Table 1, is one of those works that brings a shift in the perception of scale. This is produced on a scale so that adults who visit the show will shrink to the size of a 6-year-old. When you're 6, a cup of coffee is actually this big, so it's something we tend to forget. It's not a gigantic blow-up like a Claes Oldenburg sculpture, it's just on a slightly disturbing scale. I think a bit like when you dream, then things are also slightly disproportionate. And by making everything white in this room and only have the edible things like the leftovers of pie, the leftovers of coffee and the cigarette butts in full color, I somehow try to manipulate something that looks like a very banal setting into something magical or strange. This sculpture might be a good example of a form of our way to illustrate the title of the exhibition. Out of the ordinary, just by itself means like extraordinary, but when you read it in the separate words like out of the ordinary, you can also understand that it is as if you are isolating things or aspects from daily life. You pick them out of the ordinary setting and you do something with it. And I guess that's something that I try to do throughout the whole of my work, is to isolate aspects from daily life, very banal subjects like a left behind coffee and pie table, and then twist them into something else. So to make the ordinary extraordinary, so to say. My works that are often evocations of strange places, interiors, landscapes, they are always constructed, they are handcrafted, so they have a sculptural treatment and interpretation. And in that sense they are different than, say, a film set, where everything is about simulation, where the set designer would use like real chairs, real furniture, real wallpaper, full color reality, while the spaces I create for the spectator in the visual arts context, they're always evocations rather than simulations. They are also not reconstructions. I'm not departing from existing situations or locations, but just working from memory and from imagination and constructing things in a very spontaneous and organic way. So I'm not painstakingly copying something that exists. I'm also not using existing materials or furniture. The things are crafted, sculpted, and then reduced in the skin, the sculptural skin, in color and in detail, in order to really give a kind of condensed version of an aspect of life.
Sea of Tranquility ist ein veritables Museum im Museum. Hier geht es um einen fiktiven Luxusliner, der wie eine schwimmende Festung anmutet. Man sieht das Modell in einem dieser Räume. Hinter mir steht der Kapitän. Er ist gleichzeitig der Schauspieler in einem Spielfilm, der wunderbar verführerisch, aber gleichzeitig höchst ambivalent aufzeigt, dass in einem solchen Schiff genauso viel soziale Hierarchien fortbestehen wie im Mittelalter. Es gibt immer noch das unsichtbare Zimmermädchen, den höchst sichtbaren Kapitän und all die anderen Menschen dazwischen, die Gäste, die eben diesen Luxus eben genießen und auf Kosten von ganz vielen, vielen anderen Menschen natürlich dort nur erleben können. Kurzum, es zeigt Hans-Op de Beeck nochmal von einer ganz anderen Seite, nicht den Traumwandler, nicht den Erschaffer magischer Welten, nicht nur, sondern eben tatsächlich auch den, der uns einen Spiegel vorhält.